Hey, hey. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys did something besides sit on the charts. I know I did something, and it was not sitting on the charts. And I'm not gonna lie, we're back in action. Literally was super patient today. I've been really patient recently for the past honestly since the beginning of June, as you guys can see, and it's actually been paying off. I only went like 2 trades that I've lost compared to like the other 10 through 15 that I've won, and that's kind of crazy. And today I have some exciting news. And crazily enough, I did not say anything. I mean, I didn't feel anything when I hit this, but today was my best trading. Today was my best trade out of my whole career, and we're gonna explain literally how I got it and my whole recap on this. So I'm not gonna lie, this was actually kind of insane. The trade was a 5R, literally 500 ticks on Nasdaq. This was kind of crazy. Um, it wasn't really crazy as in like emotionally crazy. It was kind of crazy on I don't know. I had a gut feeling, and today was also a very obvious long day in my opinion. And we're gonna talk about how it was a long day. If you shorted, I don't understand why you shorted. Maybe you had a good reason to, which is honestly very valid. But I'm gonna give you my take on why today was pretty obvious for longs today. So coming in today, as you guys know, the U.S. bombed Iran, which ended up causing this huge, not really huge, but this semi decently sized new week opening gap. We ended up filling that new week opening gap as I checked my TikTok comments and somebody had told me, and I was like, damn, we filled it. So that's not really a drawn liquidity anymore. As you can see, we kind of, not even kind of, we low-key made a V-shaped recovery. So with that in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're already having some strong buys back into the gap, and we filled the gap completely. Now I'm back to being bullish. And what do I have to back me up on my bullish claim? Just look at the hourly. As you can see on the hourly, we did not fall short on breaking any market structure at all. We were still strong on bullishness. You can kind of say we inversed this gap, but to be honest, I wouldn't really count it as an inverse since we didn't break out of any range. We mainly just came down to inverse this gap to fill in this gap to really have this whole thing completely balanced to continue our push higher. And with that in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm already bullish. And my long-term draws is previous day highs. I don't know if we get previous day highs today because again, today is Monday. But then again, today, not even today, this whole week is planned to be a volatile week just because of political, and we also have a whole bunch of news. So that's just something to keep in mind. But my long-term bias was previous day highs. But however, I did not want previous day highs. Today was more of a gut feeling type of trade. But however, it was more of a honestly buy the bug trade of everything. I wanted the inversion of this hourly gap because if we can get this, that means previous day highs is really easy to accomplish, and that is exactly what we got to the tick. And now it's looking like prices retracing before we continue to inverse it, but we'll just see what price wants to do later on. So let's just go on how I entered my trade and everything. So with my bullish bias in mind, I was like, okay, I want a manipulation. This is so crazy. I told myself I want a manipulation to create an SMT, and then from there we'll just get nasty. Pause. But that is exactly what we got. Market opened. We ended up creating a crazy SMT on Nasdaq. And crazy thing is, I wanted ES for today. I'm not gonna lie. ES has been very solid, and however, unfortunately, we did not get my A plus, like my 100% A plus setup. I took an A setup today on Nasdaq, but it ended up playing out really freaking crazy good because my A plus setup showed up a minute after that, and then from there it was just smooth sailing. But excuse me. So on ES, let's talk about ES first. My draws on liquidity were really obvious. They were just stacked highs, bro. We had stacked London and Asia highs. On top of that, we also had this low resistance liquidity from last Friday. All of this was just stacked highs on the 5 minute, and I wanted this insanely. This was so easy to me. Um, we ended up creating an SMT. From there, I was on the 1 minute. I really waited for the 5 minutes to close to really have that nice 5 minute SMT. From there, after we made that 5 minute SMT, I looked on the 1 minute, and then it was pretty much classic work. My entry was just waiting for this gap to get filled because I've been backtesting a lot, and yes, change of the state and a big inversion gap with a nice displacement is really good in terms of data, but for my more precise data, I want the next gap filled so that the price doesn't have to come back to that at all. We just continue higher. We did not get that on ES, unfortunately. And let me turn on my executions here on ES. Apply to all. We did not get that on ES, and that was pretty unfortunate for me. I was targeting all these stacked highs, and honestly, my draw would have been in the middle of this inversion, because there was actually like no low, but if we had actually came in, filled in the low, it probably would have been underneath something here. Okay, it wouldn't have been that close, but you know, you get the gist of it. Unfortunately, we did not get my trade, and I ended up entering on Nasdaq, and I'm gonna explain to you why I entered on Nasdaq. Nasdaq, it was pretty short and sweet. Not really short and sweet. We had this volume imbalance, which was kind of crazy. I thought my contract wasn't on, but it turned out that it was on, and this was just kind of like a crazy gap. We ended up inversing this, but I originally focused on that. We ended up having inversion of the first gap, not first gap, second gap. We ended up having an inversion of that with the clean displacement, and I entered on this change in the state of delivery. However, we had news at 9:45, so I had waited for news at 9:45 to see what we were gonna do. It was bearish news. As you can see, it was bearish news, and from there I had waited to see what price was going to do. If we tapped into the CIZ again and had a clean displacement, I was going to enter on one contract, and I entered on one contract. As you guys see, I entered on one contract. I was going to go in very light today. I was not going to trade two contracts on Nasdaq, especially considering the volatile week that we're going to have coming into the end of June. So I told myself, okay, we're going to enter one con on a closure above the CISD, and then if my gap fills, pause. If the gap that I want fills after that, then I should be straight to have all my draws and liquidity booked. What did we get after our change of the state? Our gap that I always look for, and boom, it was literally sensitively touched, and after that, boom, it was smooth sailing from there. And that is literally my entry model. Gap gets ran through, change of the state. We had an SMT at the lows for the manipulation, and then the gap gets filled there, and then boom, price should not have a reason to come back down here unless I'm completely wrong or some BS drops. But from there, it was smooth sailing. I was like, okay, bet, we're calm. Let's continue with the ride. Excuse me. And from there, okay. Sorry. Okay. And from there, price continued to go to my draws and liquidity. As you can see right here, if we could zoom out on the higher time frame, this was London and this was Asia highs. As you can see, they were literally stacked. They were really just stacked highs, and I like that a lot. I like that a lot just mainly because I don't know. Today was just really shouting out, yo, today is a long day. It's gonna be the most obvious long day, and it really was the obvious long day. On top of that, we also had this imbalance, and we also had stacked highs. If you zoom out on the lower time frames, we also had stacked highs right here, and we also had this equilibrium of the whole range. And I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't a draw for me at all. This was mainly just a place to draw my stops because I was going in with one con. So in my opinion, not even in my opinion, when I go in with really light size and I'm not taking partials, I'm going to draw my stops heavily to the most obvious low, like the most obvious protected low. So as soon as we ended up hitting equilibrium, I moved my stops to Asia highs, and from there I was just letting stuff ride. Ended up coming down and creating an SMT, which is kind of crazy. I thought I was gonna get stopped out. I thought price had made an SMT here because, like I said, sometimes I'll treat equal highs and a higher high, a high and a higher high as an SMT if we really just displace through. But we did not displace. We just ended up coming in to create an SMT. How is it an SMT? We ended up taking this low out. We did not take out this low on ES, so this was, not on Nasdaq, so this was protected highs. And as soon as we had the displacement to reclaim this gap, not really reclaim because we didn't really inverse it, but really just after we closed out of this gap, I moved my stops to this low because this should be protected. Like I said, it's the SMT that didn't get taken. So from there, again, I'm trailing my stops really heavily. I like what I'm seeing. I already won my trade, whatever happens. So, and I'm just really holding because I had a crazy gut feeling, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep holding. And from there, after minutes of consolidation, to be honest, I really just waited for displacement out of this bearish candle, this bearish imbalance, because price kept rejecting off of it, and it was kind of iffy, which really caused a consolidation because we kept rejecting from the bullish one, and it was just a back and forth accordion for like, honestly, like 5-6 minutes. And as soon as we got that nice strong displacement to take out 5-minute stacked highs that were right here, not 5-minute but 1-minute stacked highs, I ended up moving trailing my stops to literally right in between here, and from there I pretty much just watched price genuinely miss my take profit by a tick. And that was actually like, that was kind of funny, but I was like, damn, there's no way price is gonna reverse just from that, because that is a key possibility. and then literally a minute after that we ended up hitting that take profit, and then from there we just ended up honestly kind of top ticking, low key. We just top ticked, and then from there prices hit a reversal. But I genuinely do think after we inverse this gap, because we are consolidating a little bit after technically hitting a key level, this hourly imbalance that was barely tapped is technically a key level. I do think after we can strongly inverse this, previous day highs right here was from Friday. It's not really that hard to accomplish, but to be honest, I'm not really sure. We've already moved a lot this Monday, and it's not even 11 a.m. So that's gonna be kind of crazy to see. Not crazy, but you know what I mean. Definitely interesting to see. But yeah. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was genuinely my best trade, better than my May trade. My May trade, that was a 4.19 R, practically a 4.2 R. This was a 5.04. And let me explain my stop loss because someone might have a question. My stop loss was honestly, okay, come on, can we log in? Hello? Is it underneath? Okay, yeah, it is. Well, 4.89, 5R, whatever you want to call it. My stop loss was very, very, very tight. Mainly because we've already tapped the CISD. This order block was holding tremendously, really good, exceptionally well. So after we really displaced and I entered, my candle was, well, my stop loss was literally at the low of the CISD. Excuse me. At the low of the CISD and inside this 1 minute order block, because we were holding up extremely well. The order block was tapped into multiple times, but really sensitively, as you can see if we really just highlight it with the box. This, oh, okay, can we calm down here? Hello? Okay. After we got our nice displacement to really confirm this is the order block, we ended up tapping into it multiple times, but it was very sensitively. We never closed inside the order block after we technically, made the order block and had the candle close above it. We only came in very sensitively. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good with me. We ended up having our change of state. We ended up having our clean displacement. From there, I just entered. This was honestly an A setup. The A plus setup would have been waiting for this gap to be taken. I mean, this gap to be tapped into. But to be fair, I entered with light size because I knew these highs were going to be taken. By the time we were already here, ES was already going to move these highs. And as soon as we got these highs, as soon as ES took the highs, I just moved my stops to break even just in case a reversal would have came. And from there, I was really just smooth sailing until price gave me a reason to keep on trailing. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was pretty much it. Literally my best trade ever in my trading career. This has been, June has been pretty good to say the least. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to really say. Um, God willing, funded account coming really, really soon. We'll see how I perform and how my mental is on that. But when I hit this, honestly, I genuinely did not feel like anything at all. Obviously, it's paper. Like, it's not fake money. I'm not even looking at it as in the P&L wise. I'm looking at it to see, like, damn, am I going to be right? Am I going to be wrong? And it's kind of crazy. Like, everything that I have learned is really setting me up to be, like, right. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of crazy to see. Alhamdulillah. Thank God for that. But, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys probably, honestly, probably not tomorrow. Probably not Wednesday. I'll probably just, tape read tomorrow just because we have Powell speaking at 10. So that's just going to be something. Wednesday, yeah, Powell speaking at 10. Thursday, I'll definitely trade Thursday. And Friday, I'll trade. But, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm definitely taking off. Power for ticks to start off Monday and to end off June is really exceptionally well. So that's pretty good. But, yeah, we just got to keep working, man. Just keep trying to get better and just keep trying to understand the draw. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. I love you guys. We're almost at 100 subs. That's insane. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.